Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever actually wondered how ordinary people manage to turn, tiny budgets into literal million-dollar businesses? Well, today we're unpacking exactly how they pull it off by totally defying the most common entrepreneurial myths out there. Spoiler alert, you really don't need a massive trust fund, and the roadmap we're exploring today proves it.
$100. That's it. Every single year, millions of people basically paralyze their own ambitions because of this completely false belief. They just assume they need thousands of dollars sitting in the bank, some fancy MBA, or a room full of wealthy investors to even take step one. But if you look at the data and history, they prove something totally remarkable. The absolute most successful businesses often begin with ordinary people, incredibly tiny budgets, and a completely different mindset.
So, what if there's a better way? Instead of just wishing for deep pockets, true success actually starts by looking at an everyday inconvenience and asking one really simple question. What if there's a better way? Look, every successful business exists simply because someone noticed a daily annoyance that everyone else just accepted as the norm. While the masses are busy complaining about a problem, successful founders hit pause, look at that exact same issue, and decide to question it.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the million-dollar myth, creativity versus capital.
The absolute biggest entrepreneurial myth out there is that success only belongs to those with deep pockets. But the reality? Creativity, and specifically the ability to spot those ignored opportunities, beats capital almost every single time. Your biggest advantage in the marketplace isn't having a ton of money to burn, it's actually seeing the gaps and unmet demands that literally everyone else walks right past. And this totally redefines what innovation means in the real world. You absolutely do not need to invent a groundbreaking spaceship. You really just need to eliminate a daily frustration. Why? Because consumers consistently and predictably open their wallets for convenience. If you can make everyday life just a little bit faster, cheaper, easier, or more enjoyable, you've got a business right there.
Moving right along to Section 2, clarity beats complexity, which is all about the simplicity principle.
Here's the thing, complexity doesn't sell, clarity does. The really fascinating part about great business ideas is that they almost never look impressive on day one. Honestly, experts might even laugh at your basic concept at first, but clear, simple solutions win because the marketplace immediately understands exactly what you're offering. Basically, if people don't get it right away, they're not going to buy it.
For example, let's say an entrepreneur notices a real lack of healthy, homemade dog treats. Instead of, going into massive debt for a super expensive retail storefront, they just start small. They spend $100 on ingredients, they start selling at local neighborhood markets, they tweak their recipes based on direct feedback, and before you know it, they're fulfilling online orders nationwide. It's about organically building a resilient business, literally one dog treat at a time.
Let's dive into Section 3, action over perfection, and uncover the power of the pivot.
So there's this massive gap between the dreamer and the doer. The dreamer, they'll spend 6 months obsessing over font choices for a logo that no one's even gonna see. But the doer launches a basic, frankly kind of ugly version immediately. Action beats endless planning every single time, because the doer lets the ultimate teacher, the marketplace itself, tell them exactly what people actually want and what they'll realistically pay for. I absolutely love this quote. Don't become emotionally attached to your original idea. Become committed to solving the customer's problem. It hits the nail on the head. By viewing those disappointing early launches not as total failures, but as highly valuable data, you can pivot so much more flexibly. If the solution needs to change, change it. That's how you build a company that thrives on real customer feedback instead of just protecting the founder's ego.
Next up is Section 4, know your specific customer, focusing on consistency and focus. Let's be real, overnight success is a complete illusion. The hidden reality actually looks like super early mornings, incredibly late nights, disappointing sales, failed marketing campaigns, and just constant adjustments. True success arrives quietly. It's built on a rock-solid foundation of relentless, totally unglamorous effort, way before the rest of the world even takes notice.
Think about it. If your strategy is everyone is our customer, you're basically just shouting into a crowded marketplace. It's just noise. But by focusing on a super specific niche, like, say, a bakery that exclusively caters to gluten-free diets, or a fitness coach strictly for busy executives, your customers feel deeply understood. And when people feel understood, you aren't even really marketing anymore. You're just having a natural conversation with people who already desperately need what you're offering.
This brings us to Section 5, resourcefulness beats resources, or the advantage of limits.
It sounds totally counterintuitive, I know, but having unlimited money can actually be a massive disadvantage. When funding is incredibly easy to get, founders tend to waste it on vanity metrics and things that honestly just don't matter. A tight budget, that acts as a brilliant forcing function for creativity. It literally demands true resourcefulness and rigorous testing of your ideas way before any massive investments are ever made. Because you're forced to operate within that limited budget, you have to build incredible habits right from day one. You're basically forced to focus exclusively on serving the customer effectively, generating initial revenue just to keep the lights on, and constantly improving. These super grounded habits create fundamentally stronger, way more resilient companies over time compared to the ones that just throw money at every problem.
And this perfectly brings us to how you actually find your lasting idea. The completely wrong question to ask is, what's the next big trend? Because trends come and go, right? The right question is, what problem keeps showing up? Because real problems stick around. Paying close attention to everyday annoyances, those persistent little roadblocks in daily life, that is the true secret to finding lasting, highly valuable business opportunities.
Always remember this. Every single successful entrepreneur was once a beginner. Every iconic business out there started with total uncertainty. You definitely do not need all the answers or a team of venture capitalists to take that crucial first step. You really just need to begin.
Which brings us to a really powerful realization. Maybe what you need is the courage to test one small idea that genuinely helps people. The absolute next remarkable million-dollar business might simply require noticing a problem everyone else has just learned to ignore and having the sheer determination to solve it better than anyone else.
So that leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to ponder. What overlooked problem will you solve with your $100? Really think about it. The opportunity is out there just waiting for you. If you found this explainer inspiring and want to keep learning how to build success through these kinds of structured visual insights, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Because our next explainer might just spark the idea that completely changes your life. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.